this image is even way more dynamic because we have a character right directly above us. We can see we're looking straight up into the sky. So if you look head up like this is the kind of view that you're having right here, to make it feel like this character is about to step on you. Maybe he tried to step on you right here, but he missed. He got the ground, and we have our camera right here directly below him, so we're looking straight up at him. That's why we have his feet right here bigger, and his hand that's coming down right here and passing through us. He's just passing through us, walking down and looking down at us. That's why we have this very dynamic image with a camera. Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about extreme perspective. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about using forced perspectives and extreme perspectives in our work. And I'm just going to be showing you guys some examples first. Then next, we're going to talk about using the horizon line, understanding how we can pretty much set up a horizon line in our work, set up vanishing points in our work, and how we can make sure our characters are sticking to those vanishing points, and all the other elements in our images are sticking to those vanishing points as well. Then next, we're going to understand camera placements. We're pretty much just going to be figuring out which one makes our images look much more dynamic. Then next, we're going to be looking at extreme foreshortening. And with all that being said, let's just jump right into it. So first off, we're going to start with this image from ESBEN. He's one of my favorite artists. He's really fantastic with his compositions, his images, his painting, the use of lighting in his work, the renderings. Oh, it's so good. So we have a character here. He just fired the top of this temple. He destroyed it, and you can see right here the round is being ejected from the gun, and he probably turned away, is walking away from it in a heroic pose. You can see the smoke from the gun to show you that this was where he was, and then just turned around and is heading out of the scene pretty much. And you can see how dynamic the character is. This gun right here is coming so close to the camera, is pointed right close into the camera, making the scene look very dynamic, making the character look dynamic. All right, so first off, we're going to start with the horizon line and vanishing point. And a very good image that uses this and just shows this in its rawest form while also adding a dynamic character is this powerful image right here from ALESHIRE. It's a really powerful image. You can check out his Instagram. He has a lot of fantastic work on his Instagram page, and we're just going to break this image down and see what's going on right here. So first off, we can see that our character is running towards the camera, is running towards us, but he's actually running past the camera because he's heading out this way. And we can see there's a vanishing point right here, and a vanishing point is pretty much where all the elements in your image, all the lines, the leading lines, that's where they reach to on the horizon line. And because there's a vanishing point right here, our horizon line is pretty much about here or so. So you can see everything is heading out from this place, coming straight out. I was coming at the camera, heading out this way. And to further understand this, we're going to have to set up a 1 point perspective right here, and you can actually do that just by drawing out your lines, setting up your perspective manually. But I just did you guys a favor and downloaded a perspective brush from DeviantArt. I'll leave a link in the description where you guys can pretty much get this brush as well. It has different perspectives. There's a 1 point perspective, which is what we're going to be using today. So this is the simple 1 point perspective. There's a 3 point perspective as well. Different perspectives. There's actually 5 point perspective. I mean, who will be using this kind of perspective? 5 point perspective. This is crazy. Man, it's only Kim Jong-gi that can use this kind of perspective, because brother. All right, so now that we've put our 1 point perspective on the horizon line, we can see that actually all his elements of the character, everything is following this perspective, following this 1 point perspective and coming straight into the camera, which is what's making the image really dynamic. We can see right here, this arm is the biggest because it's closer to the camera, and if we were to keep going, it will probably extend all the way up to here, and the character's head will probably go around here, something like this. But we can see that this arm is the biggest because it's closer to the camera, and every other element of the character is going backwards, receding into the distance following the perspective grid. This is something you want to always be doing, breaking apart other artists' work and pretty much finding the horizon line and adding vanishing points, adding perspective grids, just to see how they're breaking down the perspective and using it with their work, and just pretty much using perspectives to set up their characters in their environments. Next, we're going to look at this powerful image from ESBEN, and immediately I brought this image into Photoshop. I just saw that he actually left the guides he used for this image, so I don't know how this happened, but I can pretty much see the guides for his image, and his horizon line is way up right here above the image, out of the image, and then his character is situated right below the horizon line. That just makes for a really high, it's like the camera is looking upward at the character, and then we can see the most dynamic element right here is this gun, which is coming close to the camera, pretty much right up in our face, so we can see the details, and then we lean back and just see all the other elements of the character. You guys really need to be breaking down the works of other amazing artists if you want to be seeing all this and understanding all this in their work. Look at how all these buildings are following the perspective as well. So since we have this perspective right here, we can see that this building is going this way, so there's actually pretty much another perspective grid that will probably be going this way, so you can just set that up yourself if you want to keep on breaking down his work and understanding how he's using more elements and more perspectives in his work. We can see that there's actually another one going this way for the buildings as well. Next, we're going to look at this image from HORACE. So first off, we can see our two main characters have their shoulders going in opposite directions. So for the first character here, his shoulders are going this way, and for this character right here, her shoulders are going in the opposite direction. So that's just really dynamic, just to make sure the poses of the characters are not too similar and are going opposite directions. So it's just to it's just kind of using contrast in the way you're posing your characters. So we have one character going this way, and because the other character is right in front of him, you have to make sure that the other character's shoulders are going in the opposite direction. So to make sure that you're having kind of this X movement in your work, and everything is looking pretty sweet and pretty dynamic. So for this image, we can see that we have a very low horizon line for this image, and if we put our little vanishing points or perspective grid right here, we can see that it's actually following through with the perspective in the image, with the movement of the characters, the perspective in the image. Everything just works because we have a very low horizon line right here, and as we're looking upwards at the characters, it's just making it look very dynamic. This is a very dynamic image, and I just love the way the lighting is set up of the image, and I just love how dynamic the characters look. Everything is looking pretty damn good. So next, we're going to be looking at camera placements, how you can put the camera, how you can place the camera in an image to pretty much make your character more dynamic. And I just drew a simple setup of how this works and how you can think about. So I just drew a simple setup of how you can think about doing this in your work. So we have our subject here, or in this case it's pretty much going to be our character, and we have our background right here, and we have the camera right here. So if we move our camera farther away from our subject, farther away from the character, we're just going to have a really wide, bland image. It's just going to look very bland. Your character is just going to look pretty much plain, and he's just going to have his background right here because you've taken the camera further back away from the character. But when you move your camera close to the character or a little bit closer to the character, you're going to have an image that has your character really pop out, really stand very dynamically in a very nice pose, and you're going to have your character consume more of space in your image, and he's going to look very dynamic, but your background is also going to be smaller depending on where you're placing your camera. So if your camera is this way and you have your character here, if you bring your camera up to look down at the character, you're going to have pretty much an image that's looking like this, where you have your camera above the character, and then when you bring your camera below the character to look up at the character like this, you're going to have a very dynamic, very strong image that makes the character look very powerful and then you can see, you can even give your character a stick or something, and your background will be very low. But for this one, your background, your horizon line will be high, so you can see some more detail in your background right here. So this is a low camera placement, low camera. This is a high camera, and this is just our regular everyday eye level. So you really need to be thinking about these 3 camera placements, especially when you're thinking about setting your image, setting your character in an environment, in a big, broad, powerful image. You want to be thinking about where you're placing that camera. The closer you bring objects in your character, objects in frame into the camera, closer to the camera, they're going to look more bigger. And then when you bring that camera a little bit below, it's going to look more powerful because we're looking downwards at the character, and it naturally just makes the character look more powerful than us when we're looking a little bit below, under them, looking upward toward them, and make them look powerful. And then when you tilt the camera above the character, it's going to make that character feel like he's overpowered, feels like he's a little bit weaker. And it's pretty much the same thing going on right here with this powerful image from Christian Fell. This image is even way more dynamic because we have a character right directly above us. We can see we're looking straight up into the sky. So if you look head up like this, this is the kind of view that you're having right here, to make it feel like this character is about to step on you. Maybe he tried to step on you right here, but he missed, he got the ground, and we have our camera right here directly below him, so we're looking straight up at him. That's why we have his feet right here bigger, and his hand that's coming down right here and passing through us. Is just passing through us, walking down and looking down at us. That's why we have this very dynamic image with a camera placement right below right here. So this is something you can try in your work if you're trying to go for the same feeling. Make your character look very powerful, like he's stepping on people, or he's just passing through a scene, or maybe he's looking forward, trying to point at something. You can use a camera placement like this. It's pretty nice. I think I'll try it out myself. So when it comes to drawing single characters, or I know a lot of people just love drawing a simple character in a plain background. I love doing that as well. You can also apply the same principles. So this is very hard if you're trying to think about just drawing a simple character, how you're going to start setting up your horizon line and then drawing vanishing points like this, and you're just drawing one simple character. It's going to seem pretty weird for you, especially if you're just beginning and you're trying to do this in your work. You'll just find it very hard for you to draw a character. So first thing you want to do once you've thought about the pose you want your character to take is to start off by drawing the line of action you want your character to go in. Then you can go about placing the shoulders, just draw the general shape of the shoulders. The next thing you want to do is set up the ground plane for wherever your character is going. So just think about how you want to place your camera and then just set up a ground plane, and it's very easy. I just use this plus shape right here to just set up a ground plane, and generally what this dictates is I'm thinking of the distance between both feet, and then I'm also thinking of where his feet are going to be placed in the image. So you just set up this plus line right here, and once you just do this, it will just help you in understanding the perspective of that image, because you've already set your ground plane. And then if you start thinking about it, if your ground plane is set right here, that means you have a horizon line that's here, and then you can go ahead and start thinking of, if you want to go ahead and use more perspective grids in your image, then you can think, okay, wow, that means my vanishing point is right here. This is just a cheat way to think about setting vanishing points in your image. So that means my vanishing point is right here, and if I want to continue, I can go this way, set up more vanishing points, more perspective lines. I can keep going this way, keep going, whatever, yada yada yada. You have just set up your simple perspective grid just by figuring out where the feet of your character is going to be placed. You have this plus right here, and from there we set up an entire perspective grid. Cheat mode instantly, it's turned instantly on. This is advanced cheat mode for professionals. You need to be using this cheat mode in your work. Just a simple plus at the bottom, just a simple plus on the ground. Think this right here. This is just thinking. Think where your character's feet are placed. From there, once you figure that out, next thing you want to do is think. Next thing you want to do is think of where the vanishing point is. Just think of where your horizon line is. If your plus is right below the horizon line, that means the horizon line is up. Think next to it, draw that horizon line, then set up your vanishing points going downwards, following that plus. Think, it's not math, it's not hard. Once you just understand using this plus. So now I'm going to show you another example just using the same technique. First off, you've thought about the pose, you've thought about the entire pose you want your character to be in, then you set up your simple line of action. After that, you just go ahead, draw in where you want your shoulders to be, draw in the torso shape, then just set up your simple plus on the ground to understand where the placement of your feet, so set up your ground plane. Next, you draw in the legs, and if you want to go ahead and establish your horizon line with this, we can tell that after you've even drawn your character, you can just tell that your horizon line is high, is like high, probably around here. And if we follow our plus on the line, we can continue going this way, and we can tell that our vanishing point is just somewhere around here. So it's just a cheat. It's just a little trick that you can use to set up your perspective, set up your vanishing points. And I know a lot of people won't want to be thinking about using this. Even just looks confusing. It will make you feel somehow when you're drawing your character like this and you have so many lines going this way. So using this plus is just a very sneaky, little tricky way that you can use to set up your perspective lines, perspective grids, and set up the ground plane in your work. Now, when it comes to using forced perspective or extreme perspective in your work, it doesn't get any better than Takeshi Koike. I know a lot of people that are anime fans. If you watch anime, you have heard his name before. Takeshi Koike. He's a really fantastic artist, man. Wow, if you've watched any of his work, any of his shows, you definitely know that this guy bends the rule of perspective. He bends the law of gravity in his work. I mean, just take a look at this. Look at how dynamic this looks. That's because he's forcing the perspective. He brings a lot of characters, elements, a lot of parts of the character so close to the camera that it looks like it's warped, but it's still following the perspective. Just take a look at how close this foot is right here. And I could actually go ahead and play his animatrix movie right here, but I'll get a copyright strike. So I'll suggest you guys just go ahead and watch this, the animatrix world record. It has this extreme use of perspective in it. It's so good. Another movie from Koike that you should watch is Redline. I have seen both of them. I think I've pretty much seen everything right here, but I haven't seen the recent Lupin. I stopped following that show. But if you just check any of these out, Redline or World Record, they have these amazingly insane use of perspective in it, insane use of forced perspective. Just take a look at this. Look how forced he's using the perspective. Look at how dynamic it looks. The character's arm is right, he's so close to the camera, you feel like everything is just losing control. Just take a look at this Jeff. Look at how elongated the hands of the character is. Just look what's going on right here. It's just so good, so dynamic, man. You just need to, if you want to use a lot of extreme perspective, forced perspective in your work, you have to be looking at this guy. This is the guy right here. Everything just looks so dynamic. Look at how he brought the hand so close to the camera right here. And then anytime you want to be using foreshortening in your work, even when you're thinking about using it extreme, you want to make sure that you're overlapping forms. Anyway, if you learned something from this video, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave the video a like and share it with your friends, or 2 friends or 3 friends, whatever. Just share it with your friends. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're new here. And with all that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.